In the olden days, when words were heavier than stones and spoken promises walked ahead of their owners, there was a truth every child feared and every elder respected: a mother's tongue carried destiny. It was believed that blessings spoken by a mother could open doors no key could unlock, and curses born from her pain could scatter leaves like dry leaves before a storm. This is the story of such words. And of a family that learned, too late, that some things once spoken can never truly be taken back. The village of Oladi lay quietly between stretches of red earth and tall, whispering palm trees. At dawn, roosters announced the day. At dusk, women returned from the farms with baskets balanced on weary heads. It was a place where everyone knew one another, where secrets struggled to survive the rising sun. In Oladi lived Mama Sade, a widow whose back had learned the weight of survival far too early. Her husband had died many seasons ago, leaving her with 3 children and a farm that never yielded enough. From sunrise to sunset, Mama Sade walked, her hands hardened by hoes, her heart hardened by disappointment. Her children had once been her comfort. Akin, her first son, was tall and strong, but stubborn like unyielding wood. Bola, her only daughter, was clever and beautiful, but her tongue had grown sharp with pride. Kunle, the youngest, was quiet and observant, a boy who listened more than he spoke and felt more than he showed. When their father was alive, laughter filled the compound. After his death, silence settled in, and with time, that silence turned bitter. As the children grew into adults, respect slowly faded like old paint on a wall. Akin hated farm work. He dreamed of city riches and blamed his mother for the poverty he wore like a curse. Bola spoke to her mother as though they were equals, sometimes worse, mocking Mama Sade in front of neighbors. Kunle tried to calm quarrels, tried to remind them of love and patience. But his voice was often drowned by pride. One evening, as the sun bled red into the horizon, Mama Sade returned from the farm, her body aching, her feet swollen. Sweat mixed with dust on her face. She dropped her basket and called out softly, "Akin, fetch me water." Akin did not move. Instead, he turned sharply, anger flashing in his eyes. "I am not your servant," he shouted. "Must I suffer forever because you are poor?" The words struck Mama Sade harder than any slap. Bola laughed. Sharp and careless. Kunle lowered his head in shame. Mama Sade felt something inside her break. Her hands trembled. Her chest burned. Years of swallowed pain, unspoken sacrifices, and silent tears rose at once like fire-seeking air. That night, rain poured from the heavens. Thunder roared across the sky as though the ancestors themselves were restless. Mama Sade stepped outside into the storm. Soaked, shaking, and blinded by rage, she lifted her hands toward the dark sky and cried out. Not as a mother, but as a wounded soul. "Since my children see me as nothing," she shouted through tears. "May the world show them no mercy. May their paths scatter like dry leaves. May they never find rest where they seek it." Lightning split the sky. The wind howled. And somewhere beyond the living, the ancestors listened. Days passed. Then weeks. And slowly, the curse began to walk. Akin left for the city, confident that success awaited him. But doors closed wherever he knocked. Jobs slipped through his fingers like sand. Friends betrayed him. Hunger became his companion, and the city swallowed his pride without mercy. Bola's beauty drew many suitors, but none stayed. Promises turned to silence. Engagements collapsed without reason. Gossip followed her steps, and loneliness sat beside her every night. Kunle, the innocent one, fell sick. Herbs failed. Prayers echoed without answer. His strength faded day by day, and fear settled into his eyes like a shadow that refused to leave. In Oladi, whispers began. A mother's words do not fall to the ground, the elders murmured. Mama Sade watched her children suffer, And the fire in her heart turned to ice. Her anger melted into terror. Her pride crumbled into regret. She remembered the warnings of the elders. The tongue that curses cannot outrun its echo. One night, unable to sleep, Mama Sade wrapped herself in a cloth and walked to the ancient shrine. Candles flickered. Carved faces stared silently. She knelt on the cold earth. She cried until her voice failed her. I spoke from pain, she whispered. Not from wisdom. The village priest found her there at dawn. His voice was calm, heavy with truth. A curse born of anger, he said, can only be undone by humility. Mama Sade gathered her children. They came broken. Akin returned thin and ashamed. Bola came with tear-stained eyes. Kunle was carried, weak but breathing. Mama Sade knelt before them. A mother kneeling before her children. She washed their feet with trembling hands and tears. My children, she said softly. I spoke words that should never leave. Forgive me. For the first time, Akin bowed his head. Bola wept openly. Kunle smiled faintly. They forgave her. And she forgave them. Slowly, life returned. Work found Akin. Hope returned to Bola. Health warmed Kunle's body once more. Peace came back to the compound of Mama Sade, but the lesson stayed forever. Words are seeds. Once planted, they grow. Whether good or evil. A mother's blessing builds destinies. A mother's curse can destroy them. Choose your words wisely.